Welcome to the Coast to Coast Sports Podcast. This is Emilio, and today we got Tyler and Ahmet. Introduce yourselves.
Tyler, I believe you should go first.
All right. My name is Tyler Jones, bringing you hot takes from different sports. Welcome to Coast, and on to you, Matt.
Uh, Tyler gave his first and last name. I don't believe in the idea that you guys should know who I am. So my name is Ahmet. I live in Vancouver, Canada.
All right. So on this podcast, we're missing two members today, Michael and Polly. They'll be on hopefully next time. And today we'll be talking about NBA, NFL, MLB, and soccer. That's usually what we'll be talking about. All right, let's get it started. First topic is let's start with the NBA Summer League. Something quick, real. Um, so Lakers won. Josh Hart MVP, right?
Uh, yes.
Who do you guys feel out of so far out of summer league play? Who do you feel is the most promising prospect, and who do you think is the biggest steal of the draft?
Uh,
You can go first a minute.
all right, I appreciate that. Personally, this is going to sound very biased. I'm a Laker fan, so the two biggest steals of the draft are once again Laker steals. I think Svi Mikhailiuk. Yeah, it's kind of his name is a fucking nightmare, honestly, but yeah, he's a pretty good player, and I know he got drafted last season, but I've been telling people for months that Josh Hart is a very promising young player, and he won Summer League MVP. So there's definitely promise there.
All right, yeah, a little biased. I think Mitchell Robinson played really well. Um, I think he was late first round, early second round. He definitely has a lot of potential, and I'm kind of disappointed Doncic didn't play at all. Kind of wanted to see him play, but other than that, it wasn't too bad. Summer League.
Me personally, I feel that Colin Sexton was probably one of the biggest steals in the draft because he does have a lot of potential, but I also feel that he has a way higher floor than most of the other prospects due to his defensive prowess on the court. So, yeah, I'd have to go with Colin Sexton. I think he's the future of the Cavs, but, we'll have to see once league play starts because, the summer league is just a small sample size.
Honestly, if he lives up to his potential and he's all-star level, I feel like he's gonna dip. He's the type of player to want to play in a big market. I feel like.
I mean, uh, I really do like Colin Sexton. I watched him when he played for Alabama. Even though Alabama's not a traditional powerhouse basketball school because they're well known for their football. I think he played well. He was all right in the tournament. I really I do think he's actually pretty promising. I think he's a very promising player who's going to flourish. But the Cavaliers are a small market, and the only reason why they were ever relevant was basically because of LeBron James.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if he does have aspirations to play in New York or Los Angeles or Chicago, Miami, one of these big cities, he's gonna have to move because Cleveland can't provide him with the things the bigger cities can.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And
All right.
go to backtrack to what you said about how you were disappointed that Luka Doncic couldn't play in the summer league. I watch EuroLeague basketball, and I really do think he's the biggest steal of the draft. Even though he went third, so it's not a steal; he's a lottery pick. I think we will be hearing a lot from him. Like
I really hope he
a lot.
comes up because he can be possibly the best player in the league eventually if he really wanted to. It seems like.
Oh yeah, truly with 19 years old, EuroLeague MVP, Finals MVP,
Yeah,
with Real Madrid, who is, if not the most prominent, one of the most prominent basketball teams and soccer teams in Europe.
I mean, he played
So,
with grown men starting at like 15 or 16, and he's just been playing with them since. And it's
Not only that, he got drafted by a good organization. He's got good veteran leadership around him to help
yeah.
build
Plus, he's got Dirk
out his
there
game.
too.
Exactly. He's got one of the best, well, actually, the best European player, in my opinion, to ever play the game of
History,
basketball.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
he's got a great player to learn from and a great coaching staff. So and not only that, the team is owned by Mark Cuban, and he's always looking for ways to make his team a better team. So
yeah, that's true.
I absolutely agree with that.
All right, let's move on to LeBron real quick. He went to LA. on
LA
a
Bron.
4-year contract, which means he could play against his son after the contract's over. But
See,
besides that,
I think LeBron's move to LA was a very calculated decision. Usually, whenever a player gets to the age that LeBron is at, you look at the past deals he's had with the Cavs since he's come back. It's been like 2-year deals here and there. He was
yeah,
betting on himself. Those deals are basically a player saying, "Let me show you what I'm worth." And I think now him signing off on a 4-year deal, maybe he might be doubting his ability to be LeBron James after that period. But not only that, he has the option to opt out at the same time his son, if he were to be a one and done player, to opt out, and basically wherever his son ends up, he could join that team and play with his son. I think that it was a very calculated decision that he made. It wasn't based off of chasing championships or anything like that.
I think definitely was calculated, especially since he could have done that like the 4-year contract anywhere almost, but definitely LA, the biggest market in almost sports. Obviously, like soccer teams and some baseball teams are bigger, but LA globally as a standpoint is enormous, and he'll be making a ton of money there, not just off his contract. Plus, like covered, he'll be able to play with his son or against him, and he has that security now for the next 4 years. Maybe compete for a championship, maybe.
Uh, to be honest, Tyler, what you said was, all of his contracts, they were basically, let me show you what I'm worth type of contracts.
Yep.
I want to put a different spin on that. I want to say maybe the reason why he would always sign, 1-year deal with a player option at the end of that deal is because, he essentially is, the greatest player on the planet, but his part-time jobs are GM and coach of whatever team he happens to be on. So, in addition to him having those, let me show you what I'm worth contracts, I think he used to sign those, 1-year deals plus the player option as a security net, because if things did go south and like no one's getting younger, so if things did go south and an organization wasn't following his his vision, he could opt out and go to a team that's following his vision even more. And to be totally honest, I agree with what you guys are saying about the Los Angeles Lakers 4-year deal, because it's a 3-year deal, and after the 3-year deal, it's a player option, and hopefully he does stay the 4th year. I think he really does believe in what Magic Johnson and everyone in Los Angeles is hooking up there.
Well, what do you think? Well, do you think that the way the team is constructed now, that's the team we're going to see when the season starts? Or do you think that the Lakers are going to move some of the pieces around, maybe get rid of, say, Kuzma and Brandon Ingram, or Kuzma and Lonzo, to bring in some more veterans? Because you have to think they signed Rondo to a $9 million deal, and that's for even it's a 1-year deal, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like they're signing players to build. They're basically building a meme team. All of the players they're signing to put around LeBron.
I feel like you can go.
No. I you can go.
All right. I feel like the 1-year deals for all those veterans, those are a lot of smart and very tough players, and they're only there for 1 year. I feel like they're placeholders for next year when there's, I think, not necessarily better free agents, but more. But they're placeholders. They're tough. They can help them compete the best they can this year without another superstar on the team, and let they can teach the younger players how to develop. They can they can just help LeBron a lot more than just the younger players would this year.
I personally, there's two schools of thought with all this. You could go with the route that says we have to do whatever's best for LeBron, which means, like Emilio said, everyone is a placeholder. Not everyone, but the 1-year veteran contracts that were signed are placeholders for soon to be 2019 free agent Lakers. Or the second school of thought is, let's not corrupt the future of an entire franchise for one player, even if that player is the greatest player on the planet, arguably the best player of all time. There's two trains of thought to that. I think like hardcore Laker fans would say yes, we're very happy we have LeBron. You know, we've seen many greats before: Kobe Bryant, Shaq, Kareem, Wilt, Magic. You know, I could sit here for an hour and name the rest of them, but uh, yeah. So this, I think the hardcore fans would say, seeing Kuzma and Ingram, in a potential move get sent away, I don't think they would, bode well with them. I really don't think they would appreciate that to build a team specifically just for LeBron and however many years he has left on the top of the game. But the Lakers have a lot of new fans now, like a significant amount of new fans. So the new fans might agree that we have to do whatever it takes to stop the Golden State Warriors, and essentially, basically, whoever comes out the East, if we can get past the Warriors.
The last thing I want to say about the Lakers is, do you guys see Kawhi there next year?
I could see him there. Yeah, I could definitely see him there. I don't. You see, the way Magic Johnson is, the way Kawhi is acting, he might not necessarily want him there, especially if he refuses to play with the Raptors. If he refuses to play with the Raptors, I don't think almost any team would want him, to be honest, because
I don't either. That'd be 2 years without play, basically. He's only played
and that
16 games.
he's not in it because he loves the game. He's in it for the money and for things like that, and not because he wants to win or wants to play.
If I could just argue that, I mean, I totally disagree. I mean, Kawhi Leonard is he's from the Los Angeles area. He's from Compton, California.
He's a top 5 player in this league too.
He's a top 5 player in this league. He's a top 3 two-way player, offense and defense. He's absolutely amazing. I really do truly believe that the only reason why, the rumors about him not wanting to play for Toronto came out is he really wanted to push a move to the Lakers. And when the Lakers weren't budging, telling the Spurs, saying, nope, sorry, you're not getting Kuzma, you're not getting anyone for us, then, he had no option and he got traded. So basically his situation went from bad to worse. So I think, it was just like a culture shock to him, how he literally was playing for Greg Popovich, one of the best coaches of all time, to playing for a team that fired the coach of the year. So personally, I think if Kawhi does have the opportunity to come back home, be around his family, his friends, the people he grew up with, the people he spent his, most of his years with, I think, he's geared up to play for whether it be the Lakers or the Clippers. I think Los Angeles, the city itself, is his most important destination.
Yeah, I could agree with some of that stuff he said. I just don't see how him not playing 2 years in a row would really make a team want him. But
not only that, he's also coming off of an injury that usually can derail careers.
No, I mean, I absolutely, I totally agree with all that. But what I'm saying is, he is a top 5 player in the league. He is a top 3.
Win healthy.
Most definitely.
You got to throw that in there, though. Win healthy, because
absolutely,
on top of the injury and then him not playing for 2 years, if he opts to not play for the Raptors, an injury like that with 2 years of basically, I think, 16 games total played, that's not a good look for him. Not only those things right there, but his attitude towards the Spurs and then being traded and all this bad, all this negative, concept on his attitude, on top of not playing for 2 years, on top of the injury, it might not be a good look for him,
I agree with that. But also at the same time, Tyler, I 100% agree with everything you're saying. But in a league like the NBA, where there are just a plethora of stars, I really do think that he is such a superstar that his name and his talents and the things he's proven to us, Defensive Player of the Year awards and NBA MVP finals, I really do think that the fact that he hasn't played, let's say he doesn't play this year, I don't think anything is going to come into consideration saying, oh, he hasn't played for 2 years. When healthy, he's a top 5 player in the league. I think that his star is so high that, he could not play for the next 5 years and then, get reactivated by the NBA and someone would come looking for him.
Yeah, well, you also got to think of it this way. It's 2 years of not playing after an injury. So, I mean, he might not be the same player anymore because the injury he had literally has ruined countless careers that were destined for like Hall of Fame level play. So for him to have that type of injury and then not play for 2 years, potentially 2 years, it might keep the Lakers from mortgaging their future for him. Because, with him on the roster and that max money that he does require, they're going to have to move some of their building blocks. And some of their building blocks are amazing players. Kuzma was the steal of the draft whenever he was drafted. Lonzo Ball, I'm not particularly a big fan on him as a whole, but his passing, it's grade A level. So, I mean, he has the potential to be a good distributor. I don't really see him fixing his jump shot. So, I mean, they'd be moving a lot of important building blocks just to have Kawhi's money on the table.
I see both points here, and now I don't disagree that he's definitely a top 5 player. In my opinion, he is definitely possibly top 3 if he were to play last year and if he wanted to play. But there is speculation. There is a possibility that his play came from the system that he was in with Greg Popovich and the Spurs. Like,
that is another good point.
He could just be bad
point.
there. Like, you could see DeMar DeRozan stepping up his game even more because he's in that system that Kawhi was in, and then we could see DeMar and MVP talks and stuff, things like that.
Yeah,
very possible.
To add to your point, because that's a fantastic point. To add to that point, the San Antonio Spurs are essentially the New England Patriots of the NBA. They're run by Hall of Fame coaches, Bill Belichick and Greg Popovich. They both have Hall of Fame players who are, their names will be enshrined in the Hall of Fames. Tim Duncan, Tom Brady, like
Oscar Robinson. Like, you got a list for the Spurs, just like you
absolutely.
do for the Lakers or New York.
But what I'm saying about the way, back to Emilio's point about how there is also a possibility that the reason why Kawhi had so much success is because Greg Popovich put him in a system where he can't fail. That's a very Patriot thing to do because, we all watch football here. You could see a no-name wide receiver for the Patriots have 8 receptions and 111 yards in like a playoff game, and a major playoff game in the AFC. And then you'll see them
Chris
get
Hogan comes to mind, yeah.
Yes, Chris Hogan. Chris Hogan used to play lacrosse.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy.
He's slicing and dicing up, professional cornerbacks and linebackers and
who've been playing for years, their whole life.
That's what I'm saying. So, what I really do, because that's a good point, because we've seen Kawhi play for Team USA, but Team USA, there's no system. It's just star-studded. So they could play at their worst. They're still going to blow teams out of 100. The only team we ever saw him play for is the Spurs, and Greg Popovich is a genius, and he can make average players look better than average. Not that Kawhi is an average player. I think he's a phenomenal talent, a once in a time generation type player. But
definitely.
But I don't know. Like you said, now what you said is putting doubt in my mind. I don't know if he's going to really thrive under Toronto because that organization is not steady. They just fired the coach of the year. The person who's been torturing them for years, LeBron James, has finally left their conference. So they need to find a way to beat the Celtics and beat the Philadelphia 76ers.
Exactly, because now they are at the top of the East. I feel like we've spent enough time on basketball, though. I feel like we should move on.
Let's just talk about Boogie Cousins real quick, and then we'll move on from the NBA.
Boogie Cousins, 1-year deal. I see him coming back from that injury, averaging about, well, obviously less in points than he had, but I see him doing the same thing he was doing defensively. I see him doing the same thing he was doing with rebounding. I do see his scoring dropping off a lot because, obviously he'll be the starting center. But whenever they bring out the small ball unit, he's going to be on the bench. I will see a dip in his scoring. I do see an increase in assists. Everything else, I feel like it's going to stay the same if the injury doesn't hold him back.
I mean, so going back to when I first heard about it, I was pretty upset. I'm not going to lie, and most people were, and except for Warriors fans, pretty much. And I feel like everybody had a right to be. They have their starting lineup is all stars now. Granted, DeMarcus Cousins had a big injury, but I feel like he's a good enough player to be able to come back from that. And being with the Warriors organization and how good they are, he has a mass amount of time to be able to come back 100% because they're so good. Like, he has no pressure to come back.
So do you think DeMarcus Cousins joined the team just to get a ring, or do you think he joined the team to prove his worth to a league?
What we were hearing was that nobody else was offering him a contract, and so I'm not mad at Boogie or the Warriors on this because it's not their fault. Nobody else offered Boogie a contract. Boogie was like, okay, I'm going to call the Warriors. I'm going to get a ring, prove my worth again, then get a max contract next year. I feel like that's what happened.
Totally proving his worth, though, going to the best team in the league. And granted, when he was last year, when he was on the Pelicans, him and Anthony Davis formed the best front court in the league. Anthony
Oh, definitely.
top 5 player, and DeMarcus Cousins, I truly believe, is the best center in the league. They formed the most formidable front court. But for me personally, I don't believe the fact that all NBA teams out of the 30 NBA teams, no one offered him a contract.
I definitely believe that there was teams offering him contracts. I just feel like they weren't good situations
that he wanted, which is kind of
just like Tyler said. What I believe is, I think a lot of people called him up and said, "Listen, Boogie, we kind of want you on the we definitely want you on the team. Here's the type of contract structure we could build up. Granted, your injury, we're not trying to mortgage our entire future on this." I think personally he didn't like any of the contracts he got, so he said, "You know what? Let me take my destiny into my own hands and join the Golden State Warriors for a league minimum." And if it's gonna help him build up his worth so he could get a bigger contract on a different team next year, then go get your money. But I personally don't think the best center in the league is gonna pretty much be able to show his worth on a team that plays small ball basketball and they're about fast, fast-paced basketball.
Because well, not only that, I want to add to that what you just said. The best player that DeMarcus Cousins has ever played with was Anthony Davis, hands down. He's never played with a above decent level backcourt player, and now he has not only the greatest shooter to ever play in Steph Curry, but he has Klay Thompson. He has a capable backup point guard in Sean Livingston. Got Andre Iguodala, Kevin Durant. The whole team is full of ball handlers. I think that his catch and shoot opportunities are going to go through the roof because he has added a 3-point shot, over the past few years, which he's shooting at a great clip for someone who's never used a 3-point shot in his game up until recently. So I'm going to see his efficiency go up a lot, which is something for a center in this league. You got to have a high efficiency rating. And I feel like being in the Warrior systems and playing with those, all-time great level backcourt players and stuff, I see his game honestly developing in a way that he couldn't have developed it anywhere else but Golden State because of the system and the players around him.
I definitely agree with that.
Just a quick, to add in there real quick. You said he hasn't played with any, top quality, backcourt players. I truly, I find that disrespectful to Jrue Holiday because I love that man. And
Jrue Holiday, he's great, but he hasn't stayed on the court long enough to establish himself at elite. At one time, he was an elite player, and then injuries derailed his career for a good minute. He's starting to get back on the right side of things, but right now, I wouldn't consider. Yeah, he did, but right now, considering everything that's happened in his career, I'm not knocking Jrue Holiday because he's a great point guard, but
that's like
you got to stay. You got to stay on the court. You got to stay on the court to be.
No, absolutely. I was coming from more of a joking end of it, but I don't know why some people have their favorite players. Most of the time, it's the Kobe's and the LeBrons and the Jordans. My favorite players always were the other guys.
Scottie Pippen.
I definitely agree with
Dennis Rodman.
Because without them, you can't win anything by yourself. Even everyone's involved. To me, I just love Jrue Holiday. I just love his style of play. I love everything about the guy.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking him at all. I'm just saying you got to be on the court. You got to stay healthy in order to be a decent player and be recognized amongst the greats that are actively playing. You got to stay healthy and you got to be on the court.
Yeah, no, Tyler, I know you weren't knocking him at all. I just wanted to profess my love for Jrue Holiday since we're on a podcast. But that's enough of the NBA. We should definitely get over to the football league, the National Football League.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's start with DeMarco Murray retired after I think it was 7 or 9 seasons. I don't remember exactly, but
well, see, that's something we're starting to see in a lot of players now because of all the developments with CT and everything. But normally, it's not those star positions. Usually, it's linemen, offensive, defensive linemen, linebackers, positions like that.
Hard hitting positions, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Without Calvin Johnson in the conversation, DeMarco Murray is honestly one of the first big name star offensive skills positions player to do this.
I would just like to add that I personally, this is a belief I've held for for as long as I've lived. Running backs basically lose their efficiency and they lose half a step after the age of 30.
Faster. a lot faster.
Yeah, but you also have to think of his ability to catch out of the backfield.
Oh no,
Like
absolutely.
that's something that doesn't go away. Good route running and the ability to catch. Yeah, he may lose a half a step, but good route running can make up for that half a step.
Not to get sidetracked, but that's what I believe is the difference between Julio Jones and Antonio Brown. I think Julio Jones is the exceptional talent, but Antonio Brown is such a good route runner that he makes up for everything he lacks in height and vertical, everything else.
He's a hard worker.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you don't have the the natural born height, the natural born speed, or whatever it is, you work hard and you make up for
You have
it.
to work twice as hard.
Yeah, at the end of the day, effort goes a very long way. And if you have the effort, you could be someone very special.
Like
But back to Marco
yeah,
Murray, I'm pretty sure it was 7 seasons. I'm pretty sure he played for 7 seasons. But I mean, hey, if he's happy and he got his money, he played for the Cowboys and the Eagles and the Titans. Those are 3 great teams. So if he got his money and he's happy with where he is, especially like Tyler said with the whole new developments on CTE, if he's retiring, then I just want to thank him for giving me enjoyable Sundays.
But you also have to think he's not too far removed from being the league leader in rushing and
that was
not only yards but rushing attempts. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. All right. It's a shame to see such a good player to go, but it's probably for his best. So
I'm gonna miss the way he hurdled people.
yeah.
I'm definitely gonna miss that. Ezekiel Elliott could help ease the pain, but I'm gonna miss that.
Yeah. And all right, let's move on to Dez Bryant. He still not on a team.
Oh my God!
And I have to say that's due to his stubbornness, and not only that, but all the bad publicity surrounding him with his attitude problems and things like that.
I feel like probably.
Tyler, to elaborate on what you're saying, to build on it, I just want to say that I personally really do believe that everyone's like, the Cowboys got rid of him because he wanted a ridiculous amount of money. I personally think that he was just he was deterring the progress that Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott made from their first ever season. I think in season 2, he literally said, I'm the star of this team. Dak, throw me the ball. Screw everyone else on this team. I'm the star. I'll make all the big catches. Meanwhile, I've seen him drop the ball more than I've seen any other wide receiver do so.
So do you think he'll benefit from another system if he is to get picked up by another team?
I think humility comes into the situation. I think if he's humble enough to say, look, I'm not the Dez Bryant I used to be. I'm not the 16 touchdown season Dez Bryant.
Kind of like Carmelo right now, yeah.
Then yeah, absolutely. If he's
don't get me started on Carmelo.
If he's going to continue to have that Carmelo Anthony attitude where he's like, I'm still one of the best players in the league, yada yada yada, I don't think a team's going to even be attracted at all to him. They're going to be like, nope, sorry. We have a young promising quarterback, a young promising offense. We're not trying to have a cancer in the locker room.
Where do you guys see the best fit for him? What team?
Personally, I've heard a lot of reports about my 49ers, and like I said, because Jimmy Garoppolo could sling, he could sling it. He's a fantastic quarterback, but like I said, it's about the attitude. Because the skill, he's lost a half a step. He's gotten a little slower. His hands have gotten a little shaky, but it's still there. The skill's there. But if he could be humble, then I think he'll fit for any team. But I've heard a lot of reports that my 49ers are actually attracting a lot of interest.
I'm going to say, all reports aside, the teams that I would say he would benefit the best from as far as leadership goes and quarterbacks and coaching staffs that could, instill humility, I would say the 3 best options would be the Steelers, the Packers, and the Patriots.
A Dez Bryant on the Patriots would be very interesting.
I feel like
I haven't even thought of that. That is. I would pay a lot of money to see that on a Sunday.
I feel like with all the drama going on with New England this offseason, though, I feel like they'll stay away from that for the most part. It'd be awesome.
Imagine a receiver core of Antonio Brown and Dez Bryant.
Oh, no, absolutely. That's wonderful. But since you
not only that, Ben Roethlisberger throwing the ball to him.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Roethlisberger is literally the epitome of humble in this league as far as quarterback goes. He came into the league overweight. Everybody's like, oh, his size, he's not going to be mobile. He has great footwork in the pocket. He's worked for everything he's gotten. Antonio Brown works his ass off. I feel like around that, not only that, but you got Mike Tomlinson and you got the good owners behind there. the Steelers are a good fit as far as not getting him back to the player he used to be, but as far as production wise and instilling some humility, that'd be a good place, as would be the Packers. Because, in my opinion, and I am a little biased, but the numbers speak for itself. Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game.
I agree with that. I feel like if he didn't get injured so much, I think he'd definitely be the top player in the league right now.
How do you guys feel about the Jaguars? Des Bryant on the Jaguars. Yeah, Blake
I
Bortles.
feel like
Oh,
the
A-Rod.
Jaguars defense carries their team. I mean,
No, absolutely.
yeah.
But what I'm saying is they've lost out to the Dallas Cowboys. So how about a like for like swap where the Cowboys have picked up Allen Hurns, so they pick up Des Bryant. Granted, Blake Bortles is not the best.
Yeah, I feel like Bryant would definitely get frustrated with Blake Bortles. I don't know if that would work out. I think they need another QB.
Strictly off of pure entertainment, wouldn't you want to see Jalen Ramsey against Des Bryant at practice?
That'd be nice too.
That'd be a great season of Hard Knocks right there.
I'd rather see Des Bryant in the same division, though, to be honest with you.
I think Hard Knocks is going to take our idea. I think they're going to force the Jaguars' hand and make them sign Des Bryant, and then Hard Knocks, they're going back to Jacksonville. And we're going to get the best, footage of we're just going to have, comedic footage. It's going to be totally hilarious. It's going to be sassy Jalen Ramsey versus egotistic Des Bryant.
What do you guys think of Des Bryant on the – hold up, let me pull this up real quick. It's taking forever to load. On the Titans, who else is in their division? The Colts and the Texans. What about any of those teams?
I think Deshaun Watson is incredible. I think he's a wonderful quarterback who's going to, prosper, and he's going to flourish into one of the better quarterbacks in this league.
Okay, well, now that they're both in the league, Deshaun Watson or Lamar Jackson?
Who's the better quarterback or who's the better person to run out the pocket?
Who's a better quarterback?
Deshaun Watson has a better arm. Absolutely. I think Deshaun Watson has better accuracy and he has a better arm, but I love Lamar Jackson.
I think overall Lamar Jackson is going to be the better prospect in the end.
I think Lamar Jackson has a lot more potential, most likely, but I think Deshaun Watson at this moment is a lot better.
Deshaun Watson's floor is a lot higher than Lamar Jackson's, but Lamar Jackson's ceiling is way beyond.
And Lamar Jackson does not have that good of an offense right now, especially since Joe Flacco.
You have to think Lamar Jackson. He ran the type of offense he did under Bobby Petrino. In Louisville. The yards he had, I think he had over 6,000 yards. Insane numbers, like over 100 touchdowns between rushing and passing. Over 10,000 yards rushing and passing combined. I mean, the numbers he put up are ridiculous. And in the offense that he ran under Bobby Petrino, it set him up to be, a good passer in this league. And I do believe that over time, the numbers and the play will show, and Lamar Jackson will be a better quarterback than Deshaun.
It's possible. It's definitely possible.
I personally think that Deshaun Watson, he came in from Clemson. He won a national championship. He got taken, I think, 17th in his year's draft. So, 16 teams passed on him. And to be totally honest, I think the Texans are very lucky to have a player like Deshaun Watson.
Oh, no, definitely. He's a great quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. To angle back to Lamar Jackson, do you guys remember that video, right? Do you remember when Lamar Jackson was in high school? I don't remember his high school, but
when he cracked that kid?
To the end zone. No, he was running to the end zone, and he came to a full abrupt stop, and I think it was a linebacker totally missed him, and he walked
in. Yeah, I remember those two clips. I think the most famous of that was.
When I saw that, I literally had to Google the kid. I said, "Who's Lamar Jackson? Where is he going?" It said he's going to go to Louisville. I said, "Perfect." I said literally perfect because the type of offense they run, he could go crazy like Michael Vick. He could run free. He could run wild like Michael Vick used to.
That's
not only that. See, a lot of people knock Lamar Jackson for his running, but you have to take this into consideration. Majority of his runs, I would say probably 80 to 85% of his runs were designed run plays. They were not, I'm getting rushed, I'm scrambling out of the pocket. He showed phenomenal footwork inside of the pocket, was never afraid to take the hit and make the throw. I feel like he's a great quarterback. I feel like he's an underrated passer because of his running. But Bobby
That's the
Petrino
thing. Yeah,
saw
Tyler,
his ability to run, and he maximized it with design run plays.
Tyler, that's the thing. People don't realize that the kid has an arm on him because of the fact that, every time you hop on Instagram or, you go to Bleacher Report or whatever, you just see a video of him dashing for 40 yards.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I really do think Lamar Jackson does have good accuracy. I don't think he's Baker Mayfield accurate, but I think, he doesn't have a problem throwing the ball when he needs to. What I'm
Definitely.
whenever Joe Flacco, whenever that, starting quarterback spot is
Joe Flacco is not elite.
Joe Flacco is not elite. He is not. And I've spent many years trying to figure this out, and I've come to the conclusion that he is not. But, there's always room for discussion. But what I'm saying is the day Joe Flacco, succeeds that starting quarterback spot, we're going to get to see what Lamar Jackson's made of. A lot of people that I know knock him. They say he's not built for the league. He's too skinny. Some guy said he was too short. I'm pretty sure Lamar Jackson's 6'3", 6'4", 6'2", something like that. I don't.
He's definitely tall enough to stand up in the pocket and see downfield over his lineman.
He's definitely tall enough to, like you said, stand over the pocket and see what's happening. He's not Baker Mayfield short,
Yeah, and people said Peyton Manning didn't have a strong enough arm, and look at him. Arguably, the best quarterback of all time. I think he's around third. But
I mean, people said Drew Brees was too short, and Drew Brees passes for 5,000 yards a season like it's really a hobby.
All time.
Bringing this back to my favorite quarterback, as far as an efficiency standpoint, Aaron Rodgers leads the league in efficiency as far as touchdown to interception. I believe under the right system, Lamar Jackson has the ability to be as efficient as Aaron Rodgers. I feel like as passing-wise, in a good system, he can stand in the pocket, make those throws, and not make many mistakes.
That's a hot take right there, man. I feel like
he didn't make a lot of mistakes under Bobby Petrino, which is, all of the allegations aside, Bobby Petrino is a phenomenal coach.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I totally agree with that. But here's what I'm saying, Tyler. Under the right system, I believe that any person, including the three of us right now, I think under any system in any sport, if you put us in the right system, tell us what to do, don't try to force us to do too much, everyone could thrive. The problem is there's not enough coaches in the NFL who are like Bill Belichick, who are like I honestly can't give you. Yeah, honestly, yeah, Pete Carroll is awesome. There aren't too many Bill Belichicks and Pete Carrolls in the league. We have an abundance of Marvin Lewis's, the Cincinnati Bengals coach, who literally I don't know if that man has a job. That's the thing. And I do believe in the Harbaugh. I'm sorry, I totally forgot. The Ravens coach is not. It's Jim, right? It's Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, Jim and John.
Yeah. So I think both Harbaughs are very talented. One of the Harbaughs.
Yeah, most definitely.
I think under that system, if they build it right, if they build it right and they take into consideration all of his strengths and weaknesses, Lamar Jackson could thrive. But the thing is, everyone could thrive under a system that's built for them, but it's built perfectly. Because Aaron Rodgers is the greatest thrower of the football I've ever seen in my lifetime. And Aaron Rodgers has to scramble out the pocket because he doesn't have an O-line and because Mike McCarthy is incompetent. And I don't know how that man has a job.
I completely agree. I am biased. The Packers are my favorite.
Topic real quick.
Aaron Rodgers is definitely one of the greatest. He is the greatest thrower of the ball. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. In my opinion, he's top 5 whenever he's done with his career. He has the greatest touchdown to interception ratio of all time, the highest efficiency rating. And he does have Mike McCarthy, who used to be a phenomenal coach. Now he is incompetent. He's been left behind. He hasn't been able to adapt, and which is a big thing with coaches. Bill Belichick, he's one of the greatest coaches because he's able to adapt with the times. He's been able to keep his position for so long because of his ability to adapt. And Mike McCarthy just doesn't have that ability. The Harbaugh coaches, phenomenal ability to adapt. I see them building a system because this year, you got to look at last year. Joe Flacco's numbers were not great. They were not great. Ever since his season that he won the Super Bowl MVP, his numbers have dipped. He's thrown more interceptions than any other season he's played in, and it's progressed more and more.
He's definitely declining, yeah.
He's declining, and I believe if the Ravens give Lamar Jackson a chance to take that job from him, I could see him doing it this year. If not this year, then definitely next year.
All right, let's move on to another. Let's move on from this topic. We've been talking about this for a while. We got more to do.
Sorry, we're just really passionate about football.
Yeah,
this is a great. I honestly believe this is a great run through for our first little thing. I believe, if we can shorten up everything, then our first podcast is going to
I
be
got a couple more
successful.
things about the NFL, and then we'll move on to baseball real quick. But first,
Talk
Jimmy
about my
G.
guy. There we
porn
go.
star? What do you guys think?
What do I think about my quarterback dating? Well, not dating. At least taking a porn star out on a date. What do I think of it?
Mhm.
I've never been prouder of him. If you want my opinion, I've never been prouder of him.
I see
He's
it taken away from his game.
He's
All of the
7-0 as a
publicity,
starter.
all of the things surrounding that kind of high profile relationship, I can see it wearing on him a little bit, and it taking away from his play.
Yes, but I feel like he'll be able to handle it. He was supposed to be the heir to Tom Brady, but then some stuff happened. He got traded, and I feel like 49ers are a playoff team next year. But besides that, that was just a quick little thing. Next, we got Saquon Barkley today signed a contract for $31.2 million with a $20.76 million signing bonus, and that's all guaranteed.
This
do you
is
guys
going
think?
to sound highly unprofessional, but I think it's earned strictly off the fact that have you seen that man's thighs?
I don't particularly look at thighs, but no, I do get where you're coming from. He's got a very strong center of gravity. He's going to be hard to knock off of his feet because he does have big thighs, big ass, big core. All those things that go into being able to stay on the ground despite taking hits.
Right. So I appreciate the fact that we're making me sound like I'm the weirdo, but you guys haven't seen the things on Twitter where it was Saquon Barkley. He has quads.
No, I see.
Oh no. No, I like to joke with you a little bit.
All right. I appreciate it. As a person who lives in New York, he's from New York. He grew up a Jets fan. His favorite player was Curtis Martin. It's a dream come true for him. He gets to play for a team that is from the place he's from. It's a storied franchise in the NFL. He gets to be around friends and family, and he's going to be making money doing the thing he loves. And I watched him personally at Penn State. I went to Penn State versus Iowa, and I saw him jump over a linebacker who was standing upright. He wasn't crouching or anything. He was standing upright. He jumped directly over him. And I saw that live, and that was the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
I definitely think Barkley.
The most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life was his quads, but okay.
I definitely think he's the best running back in the league.
So I was ostracized earlier, but now you agree with me. Saquon Barkley is a thing.
No, I agree with you. I just like to make light of the situation. How you completely sounded like a weirdo.
Saquon Barkley is going to be awesome. I just don't. The Giants are trying to strengthen up their O line, so they give him blocks to run through. Hopefully, because I really do. I'm rooting for the kid. Hopefully that O line improves drastically. So
I see. I believe me and Emilio, we look up at stats and stuff, and I believe that you just research quads of different players.
Right. I mean, I have the stats and everything, but since this is the first podcast, it's like a run through. I'm just trying to keep it nice and light. You know what I mean?
Nice and light. Unlike his quads.
You guys want to talk stats, and I can talk stats. I can talk stats about everybody, but
no, we don't have to talk stats about Barkley.
Who needs stats when we can talk about quad sizes, right?
I mean, if you guys, all right, I apologize. I'll start taking this way serious.
No. I definitely think we need to include jokes like that. I definitely feel like.
Wait, hold up. Are we allowed to? We're allowed to talk like this in the middle of the podcast, right? Because I had a few suggestions. Actually, not a suggestions. I had a few reasons to apologize. The reason why I think this podcast is going to be really long is because I keep saying stuttering, and I also keep butting into everyone's fucking.
Oh no, fine. It's how it works. We can
see, I feel like okay, guys. You know who Skip Bayless is and Stephen A. Smith and shit.
Yes, I
want to be like them. I'm gonna be the one that's the asshole of the group, and I'm gonna be like, no, I disagree with that, and here's why. See, Tyler, I feel like we should have that style of hot takes.
Tyler, today I'm Skip Bayless and I'm Stephen A. Smith right now, and I apologize because yo, you guys are making one.
We need somebody. We need that in the podcast, though. We need those
Tyler,
kind of.
Listen, if you want to be the asshole, you can. Tyler, if you want to be the asshole, you can. But I'm just gonna let you know right now. The day you get tired, just tell me, buddy, because I was born an asshole, and I could just continue being one.
I can disagree with everything you say and come up with a perfectly contrived argument for it.
All right, disagree with this. The sky is blue.
No, it is not. The sky has no color. The atmosphere has a color. It's the gases in the atmosphere that create a hue of blue. It is not the sky itself. Air has no color.
So you got so scientific that you called a color a hue. I'm more than impressed.
All right, that's
I went to school to be a lawyer, right? I was in pre-law when I was in college.
Yeah, but I'm from New York, born to argue. So
I was born in the South, in the hood. I was born to argue.
all right,
Say it
argue
with your
with
chest.
Water is wet. Argue. Water is wet.
Water is not wet.
water is wet. But all right, let's talk about Manny Machado going to the Dodgers. What do you think of it as your team?
Manny Machado coming to the Dodgers is a dream come true. But since I live in New York, I have a lot of Yankee fans coming up to me saying, "Congratulations, you gave up a lot of good prospects, including Yusniel Diaz, for a 6-month rental." I don't see anything. New York, I've lived here my entire life. New York has nothing to offer that LA can't offer to Manny Machado.
I agree with that.
It is a team surrounded by wonderful players, and they all, there's a family vibe to the Dodgers. Just like how the Yankees are the young Bronx Bombers, they're the baby Bombers. The Dodgers have a wonderful organization. They're run by wonderful people. It's a family vibe there. It's one of the most storied franchises in sports, not just baseball. And I personally think any person who thinks Manny Machado is a rental and that Los Angeles doesn't have a absolute chance of re-signing him, I think they have to wake up and smell the coffee because, I mean, Los Angeles, nice weather, hot girls, wonderful team you're playing for. You're going to be on the best team in the NL, essentially. And
not only that, you also, like you said, the storied franchise. The
Yankees.
It's the freaking Dodgers, man. It's the Dodgers.
Yeah, 27 championships for the Yankees is that's the craziest thing.
Did the Yankees have somebody play for their team to have their number retired in all sports? No.
Exactly. Jackie Robinson, shout out to Jackie Robinson.
Shout out Jackie Robinson.
Great movie, by the way.
Yeah. LA Dodgers.
Absolutely. But yeah, like Tyler said, like I and Tyler said, it's a storied franchise. The Yankees aren't the only, team allowed to be storied in
the Boston Red Sox too. I mean, that's great rivalry. Red Sox are completely storied. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Growing up in New York, I'm wired to hate the Red Sox, but I don't. I respect the fact that they're a storied franchise. But I feel like a lot of people are living in this imaginary world where the Yankees, it's eat, sleep,
it's like Yankees are baseball, and that's not true.
Yeah. It's a lot of people live in this world where the Astros weren't the champions last year. That the Yankees actually beat them in Game 7 of the ALDS. Apologies.
I don't accept your apologies in that.
All right. Well, water's still wet, so
water is not wet.
But
water doesn't have the ability to be wet. And being someone that up until about a month ago was just so adamant about water being wet, it is definitely not wet because my mind was changed. So yeah, water's not wet.
All right. I personally don't follow the MLB too much. I don't know about Tyler, but why don't you tell us about the Brewers pitcher? What happened with that?
All right.
The Milwaukee Racists.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. That's the franchise's new name. Okay. So this actually connects to the Manny Machado Dodger story because the Dodgers were in Milwaukee playing the Brewers, and I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but the pitcher Josh Hader, while he was pitching in the All-Star game, a lot of racist tweets he posted a while back were started to resurface, and he was getting absolutely bashed on the field and off the field. He was getting shelled. Everything he threw at the batters, they sent it out for a home run. It was absolutely amazing. And then
Wait, real quick, did you say his last name is Hader?
Yeah, H-A-D-E-R.
Isn't that an appropriate name? Isn't that an appropriate last name?
It is an appropriate name. I think his middle name is Bigot, to be totally honest with
you. Yep, Josh Bigot Hader.
Yes, and so today he returns to the mound, and as he's returning to the mound, lo and behold, the Milwaukee Brewer fan base giving him the greatest standing ovation I've seen since Elton John in 1986.
Whoa.
It's just it's insane what some people do. Especially it's what's the word? It's not nationalism, it's for your team. Is it? I forget the word, but it's like when you have you have a tunnel vision. It's called tunnel vision where
Absolutely.
he's on your
Wonderful
team,
song
so
by the
whatever he does, you're gonna support. It's kind of like that.
Yes, Tunnel Vision is not good. The only time Tunnel Vision is good is when it's a song by Kodak Black. I think,
I want to see women.
exactly. I think having that type of mentality where you could literally applaud someone for, spewing out hatred and, saying a lot of, foul, crude things, I don't think, it should be applauded. But I guess they do things differently in Milwaukee. And, this is America. You know what I mean? So
Not only that, but Milwaukee is a brewing pot. There's a lot of different races and religions and things there. So I mean, for that fan base to support that, it's kind of surprising to me. But like you said, whenever you have a player that plays for your team, you're gonna back them because you're backing the team. But it's not right. It's definitely not right.
100%.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, not to take this entire conversation back to the NFL, but I mean, we are not we specifically, but we as a people are the same people who were against NFL players kneeling and disrespecting the flag. And
Speaking of that, have you guys heard about the Miami Dolphins now punishing players up to like suspensions for games and stuff for taking
Right.
protest?
But like, do you see what I'm saying though, Tyler? Like, I'm gonna get back to your point in a second. But do you see what I'm saying? We're applauding Josh Hader for hatred on a social platform, but we were getting mad at athletes in different sports for kneeling for the national anthem.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, guys, I just have to double check. Like, this is just a test run, right?
What do you mean?
Like, this is just a test run. Like, this isn't our first official podcast, right?
I thought this
We're
was.
uploading this.
Oh,
Wait, you're uploading this?
Yeah.
we've used a lot of profanity and other things.
No,
So,
that's you can do that. It's fine.
I'm glad I asked because I was about to piss and I
Is
didn't
this
want
going
that audio
to,
in the background if this
yeah.
was not the first.
Just
Wait.
keep it to a minimum if you can.
So this is 100% going to be uploaded.
100%.
This is too long. This is kind of too long, but it's fine.
Podcast. A good time is 45 to an hour and a half. That's a good time for a podcast, especially when we talk about so many different things.
Okay,
Right.
so I can't piss, right?
Please don't.
Well, depends on where you're pissing.
All right, let's
Not on the phone, obviously, but
let's
That's
move on.
Hey, that's some R. Kelly shit, and I'm a big fan of R. Kelly. So.
All right.
Well, hey,
Just keep it quiet if you have to. But let's move on.
I piss loud. It's like a fucking fire hose, hitting the damn
I love
tin
how
roof.
Tyler complains about his profanity, then says "fucking fire hose."
Oh, man. It's all right. Let's talk about the.
I'll be honest. I could be 150% funnier, but half of my jokes, will offend the entire population of the world. So I'm just gonna keep all that to myself.
Yeah, let's try and do that first.
Don't be the next Josh Hader.
For real.
I'll be the next bigot hater. I'll be his cousin.
Yeah. Let's talk about the World Cup. It ended a little bit ago, like 2 weeks ago, I think. But
the World Cup is a sham this
No,
year.
actually, the World Cup ended a week ago today, Sunday.
I swear, I feel like it's been longer. That's crazy.
That's the America effect. In America, every World Cup comes every 20 years. Meanwhile, in the real world, it's every 4 years.
Hell, I wish it happened more often than 4 years, and I'm very excited for when it comes to the U.S. so I can spend all of my money, every single bit of my money to go.
Possible.
Tyler, the World Cup final is going to be literally 5 miles away from my house. It's at MetLife Stadium.
Wow.
Well, you know what? I'll see you there.
Do you know I've already set up a bank account strictly for the FIFA World Cup?
I will see you there.
Hey, you never know. We could get passes there if this podcast goes big enough. We could interview people, but that'd be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool.
Oh no, we're going to ensure that this podcast goes places. I promise you. That's a hot take right there. I want to end up on Old Takes Exposed at Old Takes Exposed on Twitter. If this podcast doesn't become absolutely the greatest thing to ever happen to humanity within the next few months, then I'll resign.
Takes time, but we'll get through. But what do you?
I think we want to set like a little more spaced out goals in just a couple of months because the stock market crashed in a couple of days, so I think we need to.
Yeah. What do you guys think of Ronaldo to Juventus? How about that?
I think it's ridiculous. I love the moves specifically because all of the backlash it's getting, and I'm the type of person that loves controversy, so I love the move.
I think he went there Conquered England with Man United. He conquered Spain with Real Madrid, and now he wants to conquer Italy. I think that's partly the main reason. Plus, he was sort of getting pushed out. We get that vibe he's getting pushed out of Madrid. But I think it was I see nothing wrong with the move. I see nothing wrong.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna set my phone down because I seriously got to piss.
All right, we'll just talk then. What do you think, Amit?
Personally, I agree with you guys. You know how he's conquered Spain with Real Madrid, and before that he conquered England with Manchester United. He's won Ballon d'Ors, which to our non-soccer speaking listeners means
It's like
he's
MVP.
won Player in the World awards several times. He's won the UEFA Champions League 5 times. He's done everything. He's won every single thing that has been available to him, bar the World Cup.
Yeah,
I personally think the fact that but to add to what you're saying about he wants to conquer Italy. Italy's been conquered for 6 years already. Juventus next season, if Juventus, and they're probably going to win the Serie A, which is the Italian league. When they do eventually end up winning it, Ronaldo's just going to be part of a team that was already geared up to win that championship anyways. I personally think it's genius what Ronaldo's doing. He's going to a team he knows is a contender in Europe, so they will perform well in the Champions League. He's going to a team he knows he doesn't have to worry about domestically because they're going to win the Italian league anyways.
I think his main
And
focus is the Champions League again with Juventus.
absolutely, and I honestly personally think it's the smartest thing he could have done because when he's in Real Madrid, he has to focus on battling Barcelona week in week out to win that Spanish championship, and he
Mhm.
also has to worry about the rest of the European giant teams, the giants of Europe, the other giants of Europe, for the Champions League title. So if he goes to Italy, he's taking one huge responsibility off his plate, and that's winning the domestic title. He's going to go to Juventus. He's going to win it because Juventus, with or without him, will win that championship again
Yeah.
because they've done it for 6 years in a row. Now all he can do is just focus on Europe, and it's going to be perfect because he's going to get his goals, he's going to get his assists, he's going to get all the fame, the glutz, the glamour, and it's just going to add to his lore,
Yeah.
his legacy.
You know,
This is his legacy. I find this move totally adjacent to LeBron to the Lakers. I
definitely.
really do. I find the two moves incredibly similar. It's just a legacy move. You go to a team you know is going to be set up well, and it's going to give you a chance to win. Granted, the Lakers aren't going to give you a chance to win immediately because the Golden State Warriors are literally the greatest team ever assembled.
Definitely.
Juventus is definitely going to give Ronaldo an opportunity to win the second he lands in Italy.
I would have loved him honestly in Germany and for a legacy move and arguably to be the best player of all time for him to take down Banger. I feel like that would have been amazing if that was possible. Him go to Dortmund or something. He helps Pulisic. Pulisic stays. Marcelo comes over. Maybe when one more player, they sell a player. I don't know exactly how they would do it, but if they took down Bayern and then did well in the Champions League, I would have loved to see that. That would have been amazing to me. But
to be totally honest, now that you're saying it out loud, it sounds like a total awesome, great thing. But
I just don't think it'd be realistic, to be honest.
yeah, and this is with all due respect to Borussia Dortmund.
Mhm.
They are, in my opinion, the second most important team in all of Germany, following Bayern Munich. But
Definitely.
Borussia Dortmund don't have the
The assets to
the financial muscle nor the importance in world football to have someone like Cristiano Ronaldo on their team. And that's with all due respect. Like
Ronaldo or Messi? Ronaldo or Messi?
Ronaldo or Messi. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and say this. Ronaldo is the epitome of work ethic. He's someone who, when he was a child, said, I want to do this. I want to become the best. And he tried very hard and worked his ass off. And, he's accomplished everything. Bar the World Cup, he's won every single title that's been available to him. And he is, depending on who you ask, the first or second best player in history. Right? So I think he worked really hard to, attain all the skill, all the athleticism, his physicality, everything. He worked hard for all that. I think Messi, literally, that God-given left foot. That left foot is just something else.
he's pure talent. I think Messi is better, but from what happened in the World Cup, made me.
Both of them flopped in the World Cup. In my opinion, they both flopped in the World Cup.
I think Ronaldo played amazing in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Bar.
Somebody else that I'm going to hate on real quick. I'm going to hate on Neymar real quick because Neymar had the opportunity to be put down in Ronaldo and Messi's lore conversation as far as like building on their lore and their legacy. He had the perfect opportunity to do it, and he chose to flop instead of score. And I have to hate on him for that. I have to hate on him for that because he had the best opportunity to add to his legacy.
Listen, Tyler, I know when we discussed this earlier, I would be the main soccer guy. I'm not here to defend the players. Neymar pisses me off as much as he does you. But the thing is with Neymar is, the thing is with Brazilians is if you are a Brazilian, right? If you are a Brazilian national and you show a little bit of flair on the field and you show that you could dribble, you could shoot the ball, you have flair, you're a flashy player, you're automatically aligned with Brazilian greats. And Brazil has 5 World Cups. No country has 5 except for Brazil. You get aligned with the Ronaldinhos, with the Ronaldos, with the, the Rivaldos of the world,
Carlos.
That's the thing. I do think Neymar is a top 3 player in the world, but Neymar is more worried about – Neymar reminds me of a young Cristiano Ronaldo. He's more worried about how his hair looks, what color his hair should be. He's more worried about.
I definitely agree with that. Now you say it,
yeah. He's more because when Cristiano Ronaldo was younger, Emilio, you probably definitely remember this.
But do you not agree with what I'm saying that Neymar had the chance to be up there with Ronaldo and Messi right now? I'm not talking about in the future because he still is a young player. I'm talking about right now.
No, and I'm agreeing with you. He did have an opportunity to seize a 6th World Cup title for Brazil and ensure that his name is forever remembered. But he was too busy, like I said, worrying about what color his hair was. He was too busy worrying about his Instagram models. He was too busy worrying about everything else than leading his team to a World Cup.
Neymar is the Odell Beckham Jr. of soccer.
That's a fair comparison. I'm not gonna argue that. That's a very fair comparison. Because Emilio, you probably remember this. Like Cristiano Ronaldo, when he was younger, was like that. When he was a young star on Manchester United, he was too busy trying to figure out if he wanted, frosted tips in his hair, and he was too busy trying to, be a model. He was too busy trying to look like David Beckham than actually work on his play.
And it wasn't even like it was definitely off the field, but it wasn't only off the field. Like on the field, Neymar and Ronaldo when they were young, and Neymar now, they'll try a bunch of tricks that maybe aren't for the best of the team, but for better for them, to make them look good.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's worried about self instead of taking his team to the next level.
But I mean, then again, though, there are so many arguments as to that could prove that we're wrong by saying that. Like a lot of people say, just because you don't see Messi on Instagram, you don't see him walking around the streets of Rome and this and that, doesn't mean that he is not an egotistic maniac. I've read interviews and reports where ex-Barcelona players are saying that team is built for Messi, and when you get the ball right and you're a Barcelona player and you're not named Lionel Messi, you pick your head up and you find the number 10 and you give him the ball no matter where you are on the field. They said that team is built for him, and you are just accessories to him.
Yeah, the problem is, for the most part, we'll never know because you have to be on the inside to really know what's going on.
Yeah, the only way
one day we will be on the inside, though, guys. We will be on the inside at one point.
The only way we're getting to the bottom of this is if one of us befriends both Ronaldo and Messi, and we see their true characters. When they're not when the cameras of the world aren't on them.
Mm-hmm.
But then technically they would still be on them because we would be there for that purpose.
Listen, to be totally honest with you, I'm a soccer fan. I would be there for the purpose of just
being with the
greatest players.
I love all sports, to be honest, except for like golf and tennis. But
right.
I mean, I'm a sports fan in every aspect, every sport, including tennis.
it's
not necessarily golf, not really golf.
Mm.
But every other sport, like I do enjoy tennis, specifically women's tennis, because they show way more, flair and way more, fire in the game.
Yeah, they show way more. I agree with you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think let's start to wrap up this podcast. Anything else you guys want to talk about, or?
I just want to go back to the thing that Ahmet said about quads. I think we need to do more research into legs and cores.
Listen, I played soccer for 16 years. I played football, basketball, baseball. I played everything, right?
Hmm.
I truly believe that, there is it's not something you're not born with that athletic body. You know what I mean? Like you got to work hard.
That is not true. I've actually seen some there are some people that are just naturally gifted from birth.
They are, but people that
Yeah, but have you seen someone be born with a six-pack quads like Saquon Barkley? Have you seen?
Yes, I have seen it. There was a child not too long ago. He was pretty, famous through the interwebs and whatnot for his 0%, or no, it was like 4% body fat or something like that. And this kid was like 4 years old with like rock solid abs and like
the thing
he worked out all the time. Like that, this little kid was buff. He was definitely the kid on the playground that nobody wanted to play dodgeball with.
is
Tyler, here's my
majority of
question:
them
Why
are
are
with
you
the
looking
gifted
up?
athletic ability, and they worked hard for it. They're a best of both worlds. That's what it is.
Here's my biggest question: Why is Tyler looking up 4% body fat on children on the internet? Can we
No,
investigate
that's
that?
not. That's okay. Way to twist my fucking words.
I'm
man.
not twisting
No.
your words. I'm just rephrasing what you're saying, buddy. Which is
That's
me
twisting words.
which is me
Rephrasing
twisting
is
your
twisting words. I'm just saying that, like, you're asking. You said there was no one born with that, and there was literally a video that surfaced, like, of this ripped 4-year-old, like,
All
just
right, well,
doing like
congratulations.
100-pound cleans
He
and
wasn't
shit.
born with abs.
He was doing like 100-pound cleans and stuff like
All
that
right,
at 4
well,
years
Tyler,
old. Like, that's
Tyler,
ridiculous.
Tyler, listen, congratulations. You found my true identity. That's me. I was the 4-year-old kid doing full cleanups. Six pack, 4% body fat. Me, Michael Phelps, Ronaldo. It's only like 3 people that have that.
Mm. All right.
Why aren't we talking about you then?
We were talking about me, but you didn't.
No, I'm saying why aren't we talking about you as one of the all-time greats in one of these
Oh
sports?
no, I am one of the all-time greats. It's just the fact that the people on the podcast don't know yet. That'll take a few more episodes.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up here. This was a good podcast. Hopefully, Michael and Polly will be here next time.
Hopefully, we'll be more organized next time too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as time goes on, we'll definitely get better and better. Yeah.
Just quick question, since I have work in a few hours from now. Anybody gonna hop on Xbox or?
I'm on Xbox right now, dude. Like, what are you trying to play?
I'm done with Fortnite for the night. I hate that game now. But yeah.
Right. All right,
Are you hopping on,
Tyler.
Ahmet? What?
I'm hopping on Xbox, buddy boy.
I bet. I'm switching from my hotspot to the Wi-Fi because now everyone's going to sleep.
Thanks for listening, everyone that listened. We'll definitely post. Go ahead and follow our Instagram and Twitter at Coast to Coast Sports. Definitely some comments what you want. We'll be posting when we record a podcast.
Which one is it? This one or 5G?
We're on iTunes. We're on Google Play. We're on Anchor. So definitely give us a look. Spread the word. I'll see you guys next time.
Currently, we're in your hearts.
See you, Tyler. See you, Matt.
All right. See you guys.